When I first started learning Blender, I would finish up the modeling process and feel absolutely lost when it came to finding high quality textures for what I just created. I remember scouring the internet, spending hours searching for the right textures, only to be disappointed with the results. In this video, I want to share my experience using BlenderKit, Polyhaven, and Megascans to show you how you can use them to bring that next level of realism to your 3D models. By the end of this video, you'll know how to find the perfect textures for your projects and how to set them up correctly in Blender. So let's go ahead and get started. BlenderKit is a collection of different resources including models, HDRIs, and materials created by a large community of 3D artists. A significant portion of the materials from this source are completely free to use to enhance your next project. So all you have to do to get started is go to blenderkit.com, press download BlenderKit, and once that download begins, go to Edit, Preferences, Add-ons, and install the zipped file that you received from that download. Once that's installed, you can see this little tab pop up, BlenderKit Online Asset Library. Make sure to create an account, and once you do that, press Save Preferences. When you return to your scene, you can see that we have a new search bar available at the top of our interface. Press the eye icon, and instantly we have access to every different thing that BlenderKit offers. HDRIs, different scenes, materials, and models. Let's click on materials and find something we like. Go ahead and press Material Preview. And the great thing about this program is you can easily just drag and drop different materials to see which one fits best for your model. I use BlenderKit probably the most out of the three just because of the quality of these assets and how easy it is to use. Polyhaven is a public 3D asset library with hundreds of HDRIs, textures, and models. All you have to do is go to polyhaven.com, scroll down to the texture section, find a texture you like, and up here in the upper right hand corner, you can find your resolution, your file format, the download button, and you can even download the individual texture files themselves. Once you download, you should get a folder in your download section. Open it up, you have the blend file, and you also have the texture files themselves. Polyhaven gives you access to over 300 different textures available for you to use completely for free without an account right away, so I highly encourage you to check it out. Quixel Megascans is a massive online library of high-resolution surface, vegetation, and 3D scans. The assets you can find at Megascans are used by industry professionals and have been featured in many award-winning films and games. So all you have to do to get started is go to Quixel.com, hover over Products, and select Browse Megascans. From here you can create an Epic Games account and start browsing the different textures. Once you find something you like, choose your resolution and select Download. Open that folder and you have access to every different image file available for that texture. You can use Megascans to create some really gorgeous scenes, so I highly recommend you try it out. Creating a diverse texture library is super helpful to have as a beginner 3D artist, but you can't get very far if you don't understand how to utilize them correctly. When I was first learning the process of texturing, I spent way too long trying to understand how to properly apply each of the different image files found within these texture folders. So before we wrap up this video, I want to quickly share a few tips on how to correctly set up the shader nodes for these files in Blender. So before we jump into the shading tab, let's go to Preferences, go to Add-ons, and look up an add-on called Node Wrangler. Make sure to select it, click Save, and this will give us access to a couple of shortcuts that are very helpful for setting up our nodes. So now we can jump into the shading tab and let's begin. So the most common shortcut I use with Node Wrangler is Ctrl-Shift-T. So make sure your principled shader is selected, press Ctrl-Shift-T, and go to your downloads, and you can find the texture file that you want to use. Within that file, you have a bunch of different images, and we can select the images we want. For this one, we'll take the albedo, the metalness, the normal, and the roughness. Select principled texture setup, and basically after that you are good to go. Having Node Wrangler do this setup for you is a huge time saver, but I think it's very important to understand the basics of setting up a PBR shader by hand, so you can have a better understanding of what you're looking at when you open up a texture file full of different images. So when you're setting up the texture for a fairly flat looking material, like wood flooring or a metal surface, you're looking for 4 different inputs: the base color, metallic, roughness, and normal. So depending on the source of your textures, each of these inputs can be identified by a different name. Sometimes base color is identified as color, albedo, or diffuse, metallic as metallic or metalness, roughness as roughness or gloss, and normal just as normal. So let's say you've just downloaded this painted metal texture and you want to apply those 4 different files. So we're looking for the albedo, we're looking for the metalness, normal, and roughness. You can drag those all into your scene, and we can sort these. So albedo goes on top. This is just how I kind of sort it. Metallic or metalness just below. Roughness below metal. And normal on the bottom. And we can start to take a look at each of our files. So your albedo or base color should always be sRGB. Metalness, roughness, and normal should all be identified as non-color. And then we can start connecting. So base color or albedo into base color. Metalness into metallic. Roughness to roughness. And normal is a little different. You're going to drag from the color and release in the middle. Type in normal map and then just C. And that's going to attach our normal map to the color node. So color to color, normal map, so normal to normal. So the last tip I want to show you is how to utilize a displacement texture to add a ton of detail to your model. So let's start with the plane. First, we're going to jump into edit mode and subdivide. So right click, find that subdivide command, and let's go up to 10 cuts. And let's do it one more time by 10. And that should be plenty of geometry to work with. So back to object mode, we're going to change our render engine to cycles, use our GPU, and let's go to our materials tab. Press new, scroll down to settings. We're looking for surface, displacement, and right now it's going to say bump only. Let's change it to displacement only. From here we can jump into our shading tab, and let's apply a texture. So remember, click on your principled shader, Control-Shift-T, and let's find our file that has a displacement map. Here we have albedo, roughness, displacement, and normal. Set up that shader, and since we're material preview, we're not going to get the geometry quite yet. Jump into cycles, and you can see we have a ton of dynamic shape here. Let's bring that down so we can go to our displacement, change the scale to 0.1, and let's look at it from the side. You can see how quickly we did that. We just added a ton of detail to a texture that would have normally been flat. So if we were to remove that displacement node, you can easily see how flat this has become, and although the texture quality is still really nice, adding that displacement really takes it to the next level. At the end of the day, texture quality can really make or break your model or composition. Thankfully, there are a ton of useful resources available for finding high-quality photorealistic materials. If you have any other texture resource recommendations, please feel free to drop them in the comments down below. Thanks for watching.